to help out and get a handle on this. It seems like, according to officials, that this was nefarious, that there is a bad actor here, somebody who has targeted the city of St. Paul's computer systems data, and so they are really trying to scramble right now to get everything under control.
And that one caught us a little bit off guard too. We got kind of a message from the city of St. Paul about this press conference, didn't really know what it was, and then all of a sudden we learned from the governor that the National Guard was being activated, so we knew it was significant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember anything quite like this ever happening, but yeah, it's fairly unusual at this level.
And you know what? They are underway a little bit early here, Amy. So let's go out to St. Paul here and hear from the Public Safety Commissioner.
On Capitol Security. Let's take a listen. We'll get you there. We'll get you there, I promise. Ryan's working on it. So this is, there will be a thorough review by DPS and State Patrol on Capitol Security after a man was found not once, not twice, but 3 times at the Capitol. The first time he was naked, that was on Friday. We'll take a quick break right now, and then we'll come back and we'll take you right into that news conference. Stay with us.
I also want to thank the governor, the lieutenant governor, and legislature for their continued interest in Capitol security. And we know that all of us are always working to make this safe, this space safe for all. Additionally, the legislature has provided a $3 million grant to the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office to implement a coordinated public safety and livability plan in the area around the Capitol and state office buildings. We look forward to the great work the sheriff and his deputies and staff will do in the area. Finally, I want to thank NAMI Executive Director Sue Abderholden for being here with us today. As is demonstrated by narrative in the criminal complaint that many of you, if not all of you, have seen in this case, Mr. Peace was in a place where he certainly needed medical evaluation. I also want to give my thanks to the legislature and lawmakers, law enforcement throughout the state, who are now more trained than ever before on how to work with people who may be experiencing a mental health crisis. It is through advocacy and support from groups like the National Alliance on Mental Illness that we are more prepared to get people the medical help that they need. And to be blunt, the justice system should not always be the first step in those cases. With that, I will now turn this over to Colonel Christina Bogoyevich, the Colonel, to provide information from the incident over the weekend, She can also discuss Capitol security updates and an upcoming Capitol security assessment. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Christina Bogoyevich, and I have the honor of serving as the Colonel of the Minnesota State Patrol. Let me begin by acknowledging the safety concerns that have been raised following this past weekend's arrest on the state capitol grounds and last month's tragic shootings of Minnesota lawmakers. The impact these events have had on our community, our lawmakers, and everyone who works at or visits the state capitol is profound and has understandably shaken some people's sense of security. I want to assure you that the Minnesota State Patrol has always and will continually review policy, procedure, nationwide standards to address safety and security on the Capitol grounds. Following the events that occurred over the past weekend, we have received questions about why Dominic Peace was not arrested sooner. When our troopers encountered him for the first time Friday around 11:30 p.m., he was not violent, and they truly believed he was experiencing a mental health crisis, and he needed medical care. In addition, the type of warrant issued from Wisconsin did not allow for extradition beyond the state of Wisconsin. State troopers can address mental health and criminal behavior at the same time, and that is what they are doing, and when they decided Mr. Peace should be transported to Regent Hospital for mental health evaluation. A trooper encountered Mr. Peace on the Capitol grounds, not inside the Capitol, a second time on Saturday around 7:30 a.m. and believed he again was in a mental health crisis. The trooper requested an ambulance for transport to Regent's Hospital. Troopers then worked with their partners in Wisconsin to update the warrant to allow for extradition. When troopers arrived at Regent's Hospital to deliver a trespass notice to Mr. Peace and address the warrant, they learned he was released within approximately 20 minutes of arriving earlier that morning. Mr. Peace arrived later Saturday around 7:30 p.m. on the Capitol grounds and was placed under arrest without incident. Troopers were in contact with Ramsey County Attorney's Office over the weekend. The Attorney's Office has filed a criminal complaint based on the finding of our investigation, and I would refer you to that document for more information. We are also conducting a comprehensive review to determine how this happened and make any necessary updates to Capitol security protocols. That includes looking at any policies and procedures that can be improved, additional technology we can use to support our mission of keeping the Capitol complex safe, and taking a deeper look at staffing during off hours at the Capitol. Many of these changes were already happening in the wake of June 14th lawmaker shootings, but we are now redoubling our efforts following this past weekend's incident. You heard Commissioner Jacobson mention a third-party security assessment. The State Patrol has been discussing the importance of a full security review at the Capitol complex since June 14th. It's been a number of years since the last security assessment has taken place. We are in the process of finalizing a contract with the firm that will be conducting the security assessment. This is about bringing fresh eyes and objectivity to a place that holds great meaning for Minnesotans. In addition to that third-party assessment and our own internal review, there have been discussions and questions about metal detectors, increased officer presence, and additional protections around the Capitol. Those important conversations will continue. We also work with the Advisory Committee on Capitol Area Security, and we will continue to provide input into discussions about what safety improvements should look like logistically, operationally, and in terms of public access. The Minnesota Capitol is often referred to as the People's House, a place that belongs to every Minnesotan. That identity is foundational. But so is the safety of everyone who walks through its doors, including lawmakers, staff, visitors, children on field trips, and members of the public exercising their rights. Balancing openness with security is never easy, but it's a responsibility we take seriously and constantly evaluate. And we are standing with everyone taking this seriously, and that includes lawmakers calling for more robust protections. The Minnesota State Patrol provides security at the Minnesota Capitol 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our team includes more than 100 dedicated staff and is supported by a robust network of cameras that monitor 20 buildings, 24 parking facilities, and multiple parks and memorials across the Capitol grounds. There are expanded capabilities of that system that we are currently looking into. The Communications Division of the Capitol Security Team continuously monitors more than 105,000 alarms and automation points, nearly 400 emergency intercoms, almost 1,000 security cameras, and more than 1,500 card readers. We scale up our staffing and sometimes call in the partners you see today during high-profile events or in response to specific concerns. And our personnel are not only trained in patrol and protection, they're also trained to serve as approachable public safety professionals for those seeking help or information. Many of our personnel on the Capitol grounds have gone through crisis intervention training to ensure they can take the correct approach when dealing with those in a mental health crisis. This is all important work. We don't do it alone. We are in constant communication with local law enforcement, federal partners, the sergeants at arms, and Capitol stakeholders. That said, every situation teaches us something, and we are examining every element of our protocols, from threat assessments to the communication process. Let me end by reminding everyone, safety is shared. The very people we serve, lawmakers, staff, and the public, are also the eyes and ears of this complex. If something feels wrong or suspicious, please say something, whether at the Capitol or hundreds of miles away. Local law enforcement is a key partner in protection, and we encourage strong relationships between lawmakers and their local agencies. The Minnesota State Patrol remains committed to ensuring the Capitol is a place where democracy thrives and where safety is never an afterthought. I want to thank our partners for their openness and willingness to engage in this process. Together, we can ensure the Capitol remains not just a symbol of government, but a safe and welcoming place for all Minnesotans. I invite Chief Dodseth to the podium.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Dodseth, the Interim Chief of Police at Metro Transit. Transit is an integral part of our region, and we understand the importance of providing a consistently safe and welcoming experience for riders, transit workers, and the wider community. That's especially true here in St. Paul, where the Green Line runs right past the state capitol. Tens of thousands of people use transit to get to, from, and around the Capitol complex every day. This includes state workers, legislators, members of the public who gather here to be heard and help make sure our state is better for everyone. With all of that coming and going, safety is top of mind, not just for the transit police, but for everyone here at Metro Transit. We've taken proactive measures to address safety concerns throughout the system. Our Safety and Security Action Plan is a comprehensive 43 action plan item, taking a whole community approach to public safety. Our multi-layered approach combines police officers, community service agents, security officers, trip agents, and outreach workers, all working together to ensure that these layers of presence are on the system and holding people accountable when needed, and trying to identify the root causes of these problems. The good news is that our transit system is safe and getting safer all the time. Because of our proactive approach, our whole community approach to public safety, serious crimes remain infrequent on the transit system. The majority of what we see on transit are quality of life violations like property damage, smoking, or alcohol offenses. Serious crime in our East Command Division is down, and our enforcement efforts in this East Command area and around the Capitol are up nearly 70% from last year. And our customers on the system are noticing the difference. According to our most recent customer survey, riders are feeling safer on board our buses and trains and stops in the platforms. That's what our approach is about, being a good partner and ensuring that the areas that we are serving have safe and reliable transit. Earlier this summer, we launched a Safe and Strong University Avenue initiative to focus efforts on the Green Line corridor and around the Capitol. This collaborative effort between law enforcement, the county attorney, the city attorney, and courts, and the service providers is a collaborative effort that I've never been part of before, using detailed responses and collaboration to be visible on the system, to help people get connected to services and hold those accountable. Through the combination of directed patrols, a newly initiated beat in the Hamlin Midway area, and our consistent outreach efforts by our homeless action team, we are making a real difference in the community, including the Green Line and around the Capitol complex. We will continue to find new ways to effectively police the transit system and look forward to working with this team behind me to ensure our system is safe and reliable and welcoming. Everyone taking transit to the Capitol or everywhere else deserves to be safe and have a pleasant and welcoming experience. And it is our goal and mission to ensure that that is happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Just a reminder, as you ask your first question, please identify yourselves and your media organization. And to the folks answering the questions, please don't forget to repeat so the people watching online know what the question is.
So, first question?
Mary Hammer, PBS. What is keeping you right now from saying we're going down to one entrance, a security checkpoint, and/or metal detectors right now?
So that's a great question. The question is, what prevents us from moving to metal detectors and to one point of entrance and exit right now? Our preference is to work with legislative partners. Our preference is to work with those that are utilizing the Capitol. Safety is still continues to be our number one priority. And we are, as we are talking right now, considering some changes to the number of entrance points at this point. I think we have the ability, as we meet with and talk with our partners from the legislature, to maybe make some changes and determinations on entry level points. When it comes to weapons screening, certainly I think that would provide an enhanced level of protection at the security at the state capitol, and we'll certainly consider that. Again, that also is going to include the opportunity for us to continue to work with our partners. ACAS, the advisory committee that works at the state capitol, will be another meeting in August. We'll certainly have some of those discussions internally and talk about what that preference might be. The one thing about the Capitol, again, has been mentioned, it's the people's house. We also want to make sure that we keep it as safe as we can. We need to walk that balance between having an open Capitol and that security and safety that people would expect. So those are all being considered right now.
But you said it was your preference. You could lock it down right now if you wanted, but you prefer not to.
Nope. What I said is that we're considering reducing the number of entrances that may be coming in and out of the Capitol. We haven't made that determination yet. We do have a large number of entrances, as you know, public entrances at the state Capitol. So as we take a look, and again, as the Colonel has mentioned, we're certainly looking at opportunities to enhance security and protection at the Capitol, and those are one of the things that we'll be considering.
The State Patrol.
Excuse me, please identify yourself and your media organization.
Tom Hauser from 5 Eyewitness News for the State Patrol Chief. Was there adequate staffing the night Mr. Peace entered the Capitol? And is anybody going to be held accountable for a door being left ajar?
So there's two pieces to that question. Will you repeat the first one, please?
Was there adequate staffing that night? And was there enough people to be checking doors on a regular basis?
So the first question was there adequate staffing at the Capitol the evening that this occurred? And the short answer is yes. We weren't short-staffed that evening. We have staffing numbers for both afternoon hours and overnight hours. Those are different during daytime hours when there's many people on the Capitol grounds, but we were not short that night. The second question, will anyone be held accountable? All of that will become more clear as we continue to look at footage, as we continue to look at what occurred in those hours when he entered the building. But right now, I don't have a clear answer for that.
Colonel, just Paul Zaloom, Fox 9 News. The wedge, the door, at least is how the charges read, seems like a pretty blatant and sort of the most basic of way back into a building. How concerned are you that a door, was wedged open like a college campus? It just seems like something that should not happen at the Capitol. I'm just wondering what your reaction to that is.
Yes. The question was, what's my reaction to a wedge being in the door? Again, I will remind everyone that this is an open investigation with charges pending. It is alarming. However, using that word, it was an unalarmed door. And so as we know around the Capitol, when doors are left ajar or for a certain period of time, there's alarms that go off in our dispatch center to alert Capitol security to those areas. There was not an alarm on this door. And so again, many, many doors throughout the Capitol areas that Capitol security and Capitol troopers are going around to check on and did not see the wedge in the door.
Caroline Cummings, WCCO. How many doors don't have an alarm, and why are some all armed and others aren't armed? I mean, there's lots of entrances into this building.
Yes, so the question was how many doors do not have an alarm or are unalarmed? Again, we're working with the Department of Admin on that to find out what we can do to further enhance the system that already is in place, which would be including some alarms on those doors. But right now, I don't know the exact number that does not.
But was that, just a quick follow-up, but was that like that they were supposed to have alarms, or that they were intentionally, a few doors didn't have alarms and this person managed to get through one of those doors that didn't have an alarm?
So there are a certain number of doors on the Capitol grounds that are mechanical entrances, those types of things that do not have alarms on them. They are not open to the public. They are not open to card key holders.
Quinn Gorham, Gray Media. Just a quick question about the cost of hiring an outside firm for this. Where's that money coming? Is that going to be from the $3 million grant that was part of the, I think, capital investment request this year? And how much is that going to cost?
So the question was the external assessment for capital security, where that money is coming from. The $3 million for Ramsey County is completely different. This is something that would come out of the State Patrol budget, again, in hopes to enhance security measures that we can take and also to provide that advisory council for future security improvements.
And do you have an overall cost estimate on how much that might come out of the budget?
The question was about cost, and at this time we do not. Again, we are in the process of signing that contract, and once that's signed, we will have a better idea of what the cost will be.
According to new to Axios, to develop on Tom's question, the security staffers who were working that night, are they still working, or have any of them been put on leave pending your investigation into what happened?
So the question was the staff that was working that evening, are they still working? And yes, they are still working.
Nathaniel Minor, Star Tribune. We understand the Capitol has an Everbridge system that alerts legislators of any issues on the complex. Is there any talk of expanding that beyond the complex to alert legislators at home or other places?
So the Everbridge system that is in place is not just for legislators. It's for any of those people that work on the Capitol grounds, and it's very specific based on the location that those people work. We are discussing how we can expand that and use that for external messaging if need be.
Roger, messaging to whom? External messaging to whom?
External messaging to legislators, sorry.
Danny Stewart with Care 11. The criminal complaint outlines that it was a mechanical door on the northeast side. Is this the one the stairs go down? Like it's not, it wasn't a public entrance, correct?
So we're asking about specifics on security along with what's part of the investigation, so I won't get into those details.
Sure. And can you tell us how he got into Senate chambers? Did he climb through was the wooden door closed, or did he go through a door? How did he get into Senate chambers?
Again, that is part of the investigation, so I'm going to stay away from answering those questions of how he entered the Senate chambers.
The last annual report from the advisory committee said there's a $40 million shortfall for capital security that had been requested by the state but was not actually in the bonding bill this year. Do you have what you need resources-wise to carry out some of the security improvements that you already know that you want to do?
I'll let you take the question on the money, please.
So to rephrase the question, I think there was a $40 million request for bonding for security upgrades. Is that the question? We will continue to work with the legislature through ACAS, the advisory committee, on what we may need to get in the future. There are reports that are done each year. There was another one done in 2025, which is probably what you're referencing for security needs and recommendations and suggestions. This is a large complex, too. As you read through that, as the Colonel had mentioned, there are a number of buildings, a number of parking facilities, and there's 140 acres that covers the Capitol area, which it's a large area. So, security upgrades and security needs are going to continue to be changing as the world changes, and it's a large facility. So, we'll continue to ask for funding that we think is necessary for us to be able to carry out our mission. As we're taking a look at the internal review, there will certainly be discussions on additional equipment, policy enhancements, personnel issues. And then as we are asking for that third-party independent security assessment, we are hoping that what will happen is that for the legislators who are helping with this, and the public to be able to review what a third party thinks that we need for any security enhancements, personnel policy, procedures, to make sure that we're providing the full protection for the 140 acres, numerous buildings, and facilities that are here at the state capitol. But we will continue to review that, and my guess is that there was certainly likely going to be a request for some funding with the next legislature.
We'll take two more.
Commissioner, state law requires that the advisory committee meet quarterly. Have they been meeting those requirements, and if not, why not?
The question is on the advisory committee that is required to meet 4 times per year. The committee, I believe, last year met twice. They did not meet their 4 times. I don't recall what the suggestion was why they didn't meet those other times. But what I will tell you is that when that committee and that group meets, they do review security protocols. They do review recommendations and updates from the State Patrol, the Sergeant at Arms that is certainly heavily and deeply involved with security. And again, as we have certainly gone through some horrific events, especially since June 14th, and we're certainly seeing, this intrusion into the state capitol, we understand that there are certainly, security concerns that will continue on, not only for legislators, but for many of those that are in the public and that visit. Those of you that have been here, you've seen 20,000 plus people who showed up at the Capitol at times who are milling about inside and outside the Capitol, and to continue to enhance and keep them safe is certainly a high standard for us that we take very seriously, and we're going to do absolutely everything we can to make sure and keep them safe.
Is it concerning that they haven't been meeting that threshold?
Yeah, the question is it concerning they haven't been meeting that threshold? If we have suggestions, questions, or issues, we certainly know that we can reach out to the Lieutenant Governor or any members of that committee. And we do have frequent conversations, and I have frequent conversations with members of that committee on any security issues. So the communication and the contact with that group continues. But I think that, as we're moving through these issues and concerns, the enhanced importance of that committee has certainly been brought to bear. So it's a great question. Thank you.
WCCO Radio.
This will be the last one.
Will August 20th, the meeting of this advisory committee, serve as a deadline for the public to find out things like who that third-party security firm will be and when these updated security measures will be in place?
So the question was, will the next meeting of ACAS, August 20th, include more information on this third-party security assessment and any updates on changes to security protocols? Certainly, I would anticipate that August 20th would be a very important meeting for us to address a whole number of issues. There's been a lot of things, of course, that have come up since the last time that group met. I don't know that the timing will fit for us to have the finalized version or finalized agreement yet for the third-party security assessment. We may have that available, we may not. That's certainly fluid, but just know that we're continuing to work on it. It's a high priority for the public. It's a high priority for the legislature. It's a high priority for ACAS. It's a high priority for the governor. And we want to be able to report back out that we're doing absolutely everything we can and asking independent experts to tell us if there is something that we are missing. We are always willing to improve. And I think if you hear anything from us today, that if there are gaps in what we're doing, if there are gaps in security protocols, if there's gaps in equipment, if there's gaps in funding, if there's gaps in personnel, we are going to address that. We are going to do the very best we can to keep the capital area security safe and to ensure the safety of all Minnesotans that use that.
Can you just briefly respond to some criticisms about the way, the immediate aftermath of the lawmaker shootings? Sounds like that's what you want in this after-action report, about delays in notifying local law enforcement, lawmakers themselves, about the nature of the threat. There's been some strong criticisms about that response. Can you respond to that?
Sure. Questions about response to some of the criticisms that have involved the response to the murder of Melissa Hortman and Mark Hortman and the shootings of John and Yvette Hoffman. What I will tell you, and as I've said before, this is an unprecedented event that occurred. This has never happened in the country that we are aware of, a similar event. So this was something that was extremely unusual, traumatic, and violent. What I believe that law enforcement did during the hours after and during this investigation did admirable work in investigating, finding, and arresting Mr. Belter within 43 hours from the time that those first shots were fired at Mr. Hoffman and his wife. Can there be things that we can do to improve? Absolutely. And that's why we were asking for that independent review to come in, take a look at the communications that have been coming through, the criticisms that have been coming through, and the successes that have been coming through. You've also heard, again, some of the things that I think worked really well, including some of the early communications that came out. But we know, absolutely know, that we can continue to do better. Law enforcement, in response to this. And in talking to my colleagues from around the country who are calling to ask, they too don't have a playbook. And so we are hoping that whatever we learn from our responses to this traumatic and horrific event, that not only can we learn from this in the state of Minnesota, but that our law enforcement partners from around the country can certainly learn from it as well. And the last thing I will tell you is that we continue to hurt for the Hortman family and for the Hoffmans, what they have gone through all the criticisms and the discussions and the successes. We just know that every day that we talk about this, that there's continued, certainly, trauma that continues to be felt, I'm sure, by the Hoffman family. I am sure by the Hortman family. And legislators who are involved in all of this. And I have talked to a number of legislators, and I will tell you that I have assured them that we as the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, law enforcement in general, we are going to continue to do our very best. We are going to learn from this, and if there are things that we can do better, I can tell you when they tell us what we can do better, where those gaps are, how we can improve, we will take those and we will do that. But I am proud of what law enforcement was able to do in this. I am proud that law enforcement was able to arrest Mr. Belter in 43 hours without him being harmed or any other law enforcement officers. And we are going to learn from this, and we'll do even better. And hopefully there is not a next time that this happens. So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it very much.
But you're the Commissioner of Public Safety. Surely you have a recommendation on man parameters.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome you back here. You were listening to Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson there as officials address what happened over the weekend at the state capitol. You heard from the Chief of State Patrol, the agency that is in charge of security at the state capitol, after a man who entered the state capitol on Friday night. He was then sent to a local hospital to get a mental health evaluation. He returned to the Capitol, sent back to the hospital. Now, the third time that man was taken into custody. So officials there are responding to some criticisms about security, a lot of them brought by lawmakers themselves, who were asking how could this individual be allowed to return so many times before being taken into custody. So that's what you were hearing from from Commissioner Jacobson and the Chief of the State Patrol as well. That is going to wrap it up for All Day Live. We had to send Amy Hockert away. It's Twins Tuesday here on Fox 9, so she had to get down to Target Field. So if you're home tonight, tune into Target Field. That will do it for us. The afternoon shift comes up in 30 minutes here. Stay tuned.
the possibility of data stolen.
And we've been listening to Mayor Carter of the City of St. Paul talking about a serious crime, a digital attack on the City of St. Paul. We'll have much more for you on the cyber attack on Fox Local on All Day right here.
You're watching Fox 9 All Day.
Thanks for joining us here on All Day. We want to take you right to St. Paul, where there's a news conference going on right now about a cybersecurity breach that is happening. The National Guard has been activated. Let's listen in.
Investigation, and right now I don't have any further information on that. We are continuing to work with our security team, our local, state, and federal teams to really fully assess the situation and then go forward with recovery.
Can you tell us if yes or no has been asked for?
I'll share. It's an ongoing investigation. I'm not aware of a ransom that has been requested, but again, this team is responsible for city operations. We are not the lead agency with regard to the investigation. We are working with federal partners who are the lead on the investigation. I imagine at some point there will be communication about the investigation from them, about the details of the investigation. We don't have much of that detail, and so that's one of the reasons why it can't come from us, in addition to the fact that it is an ongoing investigation. So, like I said before, I'm just not able to share any details about the investigation, partially because we have limited information about the investigation at this time, and partially because the situation is dynamic and currently evolving.
Is the lead the FBI?
I believe the FBI is the lead investigative partner on this. Is that accurate?
Can you speak to the cooperation with the federal agencies at all? Obviously, there's been some tension with the administration. How has that cooperation been on this incident?
The cooperation has been seamless.
I'm sorry, is the FBI the lead? I didn't.
I believe the FBI may be the lead. There's a number of partners who are working together on the investigation. It is unfolding. Would it be the FBI who's the lead agency?
I would say it is very much a coordinated and ongoing effort right now. So we have we are working with the FBI.